So today let's talk hair repair and the difference between a bond builder, super intense actual hydration, versus a finishing / silicone product on the hair. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly which one you need, how often you need each one, and a better understanding of what each of these categories is and what it does for the hair so that you can better choose on a weekly basis what your hair actually needs. So all hair care basically comes into one of these 3 categories. So number 1 is a finishing shine product. Number 2 is a bond builder, such as K18 or Olaplex. And lastly is hydration. Hydration, I feel like, is such a blanket term that what does that actually mean? So essentially each of these categories is tackling a section of the hair. If you were to look at a single strand of hair under a microscope, there's essentially the 3 areas of the hair that you could be treating. And therefore we have products in each of these categories to target those issues in that specific area that you might be having in your hair. All right, let's start with the finishing product / a silicone product. Silicones have gotten such a bad rap, and although they are not the villain, if you understand exactly kind of what they are, I think at this point we all kind of know that they build up in the hair, and that's what's not great for the hair. Now, if you're not stripping those silicones off the hair and you're just keep piling it on, even when you do use a product that is hydrating, that is super luscious and lovely on your hair, guess what? It's just not even going to penetrate into the hair and have those healing properties because you've now have a shield around the shaft of your hair. So what silicones do, think of like a top coat. Think of a clear varnish on any surface. Even like on a car, imagine if there's like the tiniest little dip or chip in the paint and you were to just simply do a clear varnish on top. That clear would almost fill in that gap of that chip and give it like a smooth surface for light to bounce off of. That's exactly what silicones do to the hair. They tame the flyaways down and coat the hair with a high gloss finish. So the issue with silicones is that you can overuse them and there are consequences to using it too much. All right, now let's get into bond repair products. The bond repair boom that happened in 2014 with Olaplex releasing its first in-salon and at-home products was legendary. As a hairdresser, we were all able to essentially do our jobs better. Clients were happier and could finally reach their favorite color and lift. Essentially everyone that wanted to be blonde could now be blonde. And as a blonde specialist myself, absolutely in love with this category. The problem here is, like with anything good, it gets overused. And if you were to ask almost any hairdresser candidly like what they think about bond repairs or what they think about their clients using them at home, and I would say that single-handedly they would all say my clients are overusing them. That actually became the problem. Originally Olaplex was an in-salon treatment, and then they created the number 3, the take-home product. It was originally formulated to be left on the hair for 10 minutes before you cleansed and conditioned your hair. When people started seeing the amazing benefits it had on the hair, they were leaving it on overnight. I had a client say that she had kept it in her hair for a week. And then as she washed her hair, she was like, what's going on? My hair feels absolutely awful. I need more Olaplex. And again, it creates this cycle. And if every time you wash your hair, you actually feel like your hair is getting worse, listen to your hair. And after Olaplex, we had other incredible brands that were made for more at home, such as K18, and even more so, now people are using Olaplex and K18. And again, it's just too much. So who's a good candidate for a good bond repair at home? Someone that had an over-processing of a lightening treatment. Someone that maybe had to lighten more than once for a color correction. The hair's ultra fatigued and you can feel it. This isn't like the normal dryness that you've been feeling. This is your hair's breaking. Your hair feels gummy. Your hair needs bond help. I would probably suggest at most a bond repair once a month. You don't need more than that. The use of a bond repair treatment is not neutral. There are consequences to using too much. I think we've so categorized bond repair treatments as they're only good, and if I don't need this, at worst, it won't do anything. That's not the case. It can actually be more damaging to use a bond repair treatment when your hair doesn't actually need it. If you do add too much protein to the hair, it actually becomes more brittle and breaks. The best analogy I have for this is, say if your hair was wet and you were to stretch it out, it would have a little bit of stretch, kind of like a rubber band. Imagine that hair strand freezing completely and then you were to bend it, it would absolutely snap. And just by comparing the wet strand to the frozen strand, you would think that the frozen one is so much more protected because it's hard, but it's actually the opposite. The wet strand would actually be way more flexible in stretch and bend, and the one that's so fixed would actually snap. And that's exactly what using too much of a bond repair treatment on your hair can do to your hair. Which leads me to the only non-consequential treatment available, and that is hydration. And I know that that might sound so boring, hydration, we've heard of that. How do I know if my hair needs hydration versus a bond repair? So a clear point to make here is, say you're using the bond repair treatment, but your hair is still not completely back to health. So one of the best ways to support the hair is to hydrate it. And this is not new information, but this is the category that we've just completely skipped. I feel like most hair care items at this point either fall under the silicone category or the more bond repair treatment category, and hydration is an afterthought, when hydration should have been the base support for all of these categories. So what that means is, even if you're using bond repair, you still need to be hydrating your hair. I was talking about this with a client a couple of weeks ago, and she gave the best analogy, and I'm like, I'm so going to use that. And this is because she was asking about silicones and whether they were actually bad for the hair. Once I gave her this explanation, she put together this analogy, and I was like, genius. So your silicones are like your filter. The filter you're using on social media gives you a very quick, instant good skin. Did it actually fix anything? No, of course not. The bond repair treatments are like the facelift. This is surgery. This is like you're going as deep as you absolutely can go and getting that reinforcement. Does a facelift always look good? Does it always fix everything you wanted it to? Nope. So just like a bond repair, yes, it's the most intensive way to kind of nurture your hair. Is it always going to fix everything? No. And now we're left with hydration. So the only downside to hydration is you need to continuously apply it, because every time you wash your hair, you're removing any hydration that you've added. So when are silicones okay? You'll probably notice Kerastase, Orbe, even Moroccan oil, these really big hair oil serum names that we all know and love, they all contain silicones. And again, I'm not mad that they contain silicones. I'm just mad at the price they charge for these products, when essentially it's not actually doing your hair any long-term benefit whatsoever. So just inform yourself and vote with your dollar. The reason why these products have become probably the most popular in all the categories is because A, they're super easy to use. You get instant gratification of the shine, and because they also contain alcohols and like other dilutants, it never feels greasy or heavy on the hair, so you can just keep applying. But what's actually happening is you're actually damaging your hair further than before you place that product on, meaning that in, say, 2 weeks to a month, your hair will be in worse condition and actually crave that product even more. When I learned this, I was like mind blown. It felt like the most corrupt system. And now when it comes to bond repair, I don't think that they're selling you anything that's incorrect. Again, not bad on the hair. It's just the frequency of how and when you're using this that can be detrimental on the hair. So you're probably asking, hydration, if I want to hydrate my hair, what's the right thing to hydrate my hair? If you want the best hydration, the absolute best way is to use natural oils in the hair. The issue with natural oils is they're typically heavy. So they're typically not just something you can apply after you've given yourself a beautiful blowout and it's just going to give you shine. It's going to be so heavy that it's going to give you greasy results, which is the whole reason why I set out to create my own hair care line over 3 years ago. I actually created a hair care line to solve this problem, to create essential drops. What, in my opinion, is the best way to get hydration into your hair, and that's also easy to apply, and that's also weightless. And even if you're not ready to try our essential drops, the best way to get good hydration is to use pure natural oils. Argan oil is great on the scalp, on the hair, and on the ends. Rosemary oil is incredible for the scalp. We all know this. Cedarwood oil, ylang-ylang, batana oil, castor oil are super intensely hydrating on the hair and have zero downfall except for of course, how heavy they are. So what's the correct way to use them? And this is where my essential drops are different. I worked for over 2 years with a chemist to make this formula absorb well without adding any nasty ingredients. So no alcohols and no silicones. It's also skincare grade, so meaning you can apply to your face, your body, and the scalp. So if you want those benefits but don't want to yet buy into our essential drops, use a pure argan oil. You can drench the hair from mid-lengths to ends, sleep in the product, and then shampoo it out the next morning. You still get a huge amount of benefits from the natural oils, just not going to get the shine because you can't leave it on the hair as a heat protectant, as an anti-frizz product, and of course leaving you with ultra shine. Whereas our essential drops, you can apply it to the hair while wet. One of the best parts is we formulate it so that you can also use it as a finishing product. Finishing product on the hair without silicones and without alcohols is incredibly hard to make. But if you haven't been hydrating your hair, I would say start with something more simple, like I said, such as pure argan oil from a health food store, and just see how your hair feels in 30 days of using that. And when you're ready to graduate to something a little more premium, go ahead and try our essential drops. So if you do want to check that out, get more information. There's also tutorials on the website on how to use the product correctly. Just head over to oil+comb.com. Here is a bonus category, and that is for scalp serums. This is, say you're actually going through crazier hair loss than you have been, or you're starting to see thinning in some areas. Absolutely try a scalp serum. Scalp serums, of course, are applied on the scalp, but unlike an oil, the serum does not need to be washed out. Now, yes, this does contain more chemicals. It's not as natural. It's not just plain hydration, but for intense times of need, or I would say every year or every 2 years, it's a good idea to do a treatment of a scalp serum. One that I absolutely stand behind and will recommend to any client having more severe hair issues is the Stem Cell Serum by Act and Acre. I think this line is just so lovely. It's such a beautiful, honest, tested brand. And it was the founder of this company that actually inspired me to take a trichology class, which is why I got so passionate about scalp care. So I'm going to give you kind of an easy timeline on how often to use each product from each category. Bond repairs once a month, possibly twice if your hair is feeling ultra fatigued. You honestly don't need any more than that. Silicones, absolutely never. Just kidding. Again, use them sparingly. Just be more cognizant of what you're actually using. Hydration. Hydrate away. Whether that's with a shampoo, a conditioner, a natural oil from the health food store, just hydrate. You can't overhydrate your hair. If your hair is overhydrated, it's going to feel greasy. You're going to want to wash it. There's absolutely no damage in overhydrating your hair. And once the hair is hydrated, it's way more strengthened and almost impossible for it to break or snag or break at the end. So it's basically this protective armor that you're essentially adding to the hair. And lastly, a scalp serum. If you're someone with finer hair, or you're going through postpartum or even menopause, a good scalp serum is going to be your absolute best friend. And that's it. That's honestly all you need for proper hair care. So I hope this video has simplified how you look at hair care. And I'm wishing you happy, healthy strands in 2026. And I'll see you in the next one.